Momentum. I hear the word momentum and I get excited. First week starting the business, it was great, but then you hit a wall. First month was very scary. It's a lot of pressure. And if the business grows, it's because of you, and if it doesn't, it's because of you. So it wasn't as easy as you thought it would be. My wife, she would believe in myself more than I did. It's a journey. Outreach, sales, closing deals. People don't buy until they're desperate. I'm gonna give you the example of my first client that I landed with momentum. We can literally change people's lives with marketing. They knew us, so we didn't have to sell ourselves. They trusted us. The only way to fail is to quit. If you just keep going, it's just gonna be a matter of time. The lowest points of my life have been we're just two normal dudes trying to figure it out just like everyone else.
Mauri, I want to start by asking you, what do I need to know about you, about your background, to understand who you are today?
Yeah, Santi. So first of all, thank you again for having me here. It's awesome to be part of this new podcast. I'm an entrepreneur, so like I've always dreamed about working for myself. I'm also huge in personal growth, sports, family, and relationship. I'm passionate about learning, growing, and becoming a better version of myself day after day.
You as an entrepreneur, you have your own business, Momentum. What is Momentum?
Momentum is a marketing agency, social media agency. We help local businesses grow with social media.
How did you pick that name, Momentum?
That's a good question. Momentum is a word that I have been hearing my whole life in the sports environment. Growing up, my dad would always mention this word when it came to playing tennis and competing in matches. And I feel like it's a word that it has always been there, like present in my life in very different stages of my life. I hear the word momentum and I get excited. It's a word that motivates, inspires. It makes me think of power in a way and physics and I don't know, like get things going, get like execute. So I think it's a great word and it always reminds me of what we have, what we're doing, and why we're doing it. So it's very cool.
That is fantastic. So it was inspired on your dad.
Yes, my dad actually last year he wrote something. He did like a little. It was kind of like a retreat he had, and they asked him like if he has to name the season of his life right now, how would you name it in one word? And he said momentum.
What role did your dad play in all this? In you wanting to be an entrepreneur, in who you are today?
Yeah, my dad is probably the person that has influenced me the most throughout my life. Obviously, in recent years, my wife, 100%. But yeah, throughout my life and my childhood and growing up and everything, I would always look up to my dad. He's always been an entrepreneur. He's always been a business owner. Right after school, he started his company, and he's been having the same company since he started working. So I don't know. It just it inspires me so much, and it made me open that vision in myself that one day I wanted to have my own company. I know it's not easy because everyone wants to open a business nowadays, and it's super like the level of um, the barrier of entry. It's super low right now. Like anyone can open a business online or do something, make a startup or something, but it's really hard. Like I know it's hard and it's very scary and having my dad always there backing me up and in a way like supporting my vision and my dreams. And I mean he wants us to be entrepreneurs essentially, and he wants us to be owners of our business but also owners of our time and everything that comes with being an entrepreneur. So yeah.
So did you always know that you want to be an entrepreneur? That your dad kind of like helped you grow into that mentality, or that happened after college?
I always knew. I always had that in the back of my head. I always wanted to start my business somehow. I never knew how or like what type of business. But I want to say the moment I started working for someone else after college, I realized that I wanted to do it sooner than later. And not because I had like a terrible boss, but I like to move at my own pace. Sometimes I don't know, I like to have more control. Obviously, it's a journey, but once you get to a point that you enjoy what you're doing, being an entrepreneur, and it's something that it's bringing you income, it's really fun. It's really fun, and it's really worth it's really worth going through those hard stages of entrepreneurship.
I think you don't know exactly how you want to be an entrepreneur, and at least that's how I feel. But you know that direction is the direction you want to go, and eventually, I guess you will try to figure something out. But if you have that sort of personality, then it's very hard to adapt to like the mold of just living life like as an employee. Is the personality of I want to have a lot of initiatives. I want to do things. I want to have not because you have to have the control, but you want to be able to like decide. Okay, this is what we do. This is what we try. If it fails, it's on you. And I think that is very intrinsic personality. Um, why did you decide on a marketing firm, a marketing agency?
I think when you finish college, in a way, you want to feel like all those years in college, somehow you're gonna use them moving forward. And yeah, I don't know, just the feeling of knowing that those years in college weren't like a waste of time. And like also when I started the business, I mean, my only the only way I could see myself as an expert in my industry was because of my college degree, because I had no evidence, I had no social proof, I had no clients. So in a way, like, to present myself as a marketing expert because I had my marketing title to back me up a little bit, the marketing degree. So
What is it like to start like your own business when you're a young entrepreneur?
very exciting, but very scary as well. Um, yeah, it's a there's always the debate like if you should start your own business and quit your job, or quit your job and then start your own business. Like, I don't know, like for me, starting was very fun because I always wanted to do it. And like the first week is all like you feel very fulfilled, happy, motivated. um you start thinking about all the possibilities and all the directions you can take this new baby, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's like we feel like it's our baby. And I don't know, when it was born, obviously, like everything is great. But then you hit a wall. You hit a wall, and you find out that it wasn't as easy as you thought it would be, or as all the social media people make it look, uh, like how easy it is. And you start to realize that you do have to put a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of energy, and you have to go through a lot of ups and downs throughout your journey. So obviously, yeah, like the first week starting the business, it was great. Um, but then first month, I would say, was very scary. Like, there's so many decisions and directions you can take to grow a business. Like it's ridiculous how many different routes you can take. So it can be very overwhelming to kind of like to experience these emotions and to know that everything is in your control. And if the business grows, it's because of you, and if it doesn't, it's because of you. So I don't know. It's a lot of pressure too. It's a lot of pressure. Like it's nothing I would recommend to anyone. Um, there's nothing wrong with having a job and working for someone else. And yeah, do you think entrepreneurship is for everyone?
I think it is not. And I think at some point we need to do something that aligns with our values and our beliefs. And I think all of the people that commit to entrepreneurship, is to align what they're doing with their values.
Mm.
At some extent, the outcome, what happens, it's a little bit out of your control. You can only control the input that you do. And I think if you commit to entrepreneurship, you are taking that step of faith of just committing, this is going to be my input. And then the output is what the universe wants to happen.
Mhm.
And let me explain that a little bit. You can do good work so you have good outcomes, but there is a certain factor that you cannot control. Also, you're in the process of like learning. So at the beginning, you don't know what you don't know. So even though you might be trying to do things in the best way possible, then you look back and say there was plenty of room for improvement, but at that time you didn't know. So I think entrepreneurship is not for everyone, and even those who decide to do it, they happily do it, understanding that it might not work, but you just do it to align with your values.
Mhm. I agree. A business takes time, and you don't see that return quickly. Like it takes time, sometimes way longer than you expect. So if you start a business because you want to make more money, it's gonna be a very rough ride, especially at the beginning. If you make it, like if you get to that point. But um, I think you have to start a business because you believe in something. You know you can add value. You know you can impact other people's lives in a way. Like think about a local business that is dying and they don't have the answers, or they don't know what to do, or they're thinking about closing whatever. And we like to see ourselves as we have a magic pill that is gonna um, save this business, right? And if we do it right, we can add so much value. And imagine the life of a person, of a business owner that has a successful business compared to one that has a failed business. Like we can literally change people's lives with marketing, and it's crazy to think about it, but at least that's what we're trying to think. Like you mentioned, you focus on the inputs, how you can add value, and then the 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 outcome will show eventually.
What does your life look like when you're an entrepreneur on the early days? For example, on day one, I understand that it feels a little bit you're drinking water from a hydrant. It's a lot of pressure, a lot of water. It's a lot of content, a lot of options. What did it feel like for you on day one?
We were already doing some type of marketing work as freelancers. So it wasn't that we started our business with a brand new idea or product or service. Like we were able to prove that we could add value in a way to people through marketing before we started our business. So that was a big thing. Like we knew we had something that somehow worked. We just had to figure out how to scale it. So instead of being Mau, it's momentum, right? It's a company. And I think that was the biggest shift at the beginning, like knowing that it's not us anymore, like it's not me anymore helping people, it's momentum helping people. So that was the biggest thing at the beginning. like all that transition, to the business, and obviously starting to promote the business, and it was very fun, actually. Yeah, it was.
So it sounds like day one is actually not day one, but you already have perhaps the first customers or a transaction going on, and then the business come in, I don't know, day 100.
Yeah.
Business was already there, and what I thought was day one, it was not. You just formalize it one day
Yeah.
into.
That's the right word. Yeah, formalize it. So we were able to formalize it. Yeah, and obviously adds value to our clients, like knowing that there is a it's not just me giving my time to them and my work. Like it's a business, like it's a team. There is more behind it than just me doing work for you.
With how many clients did you first started when you were doing freelancing?
We had one.
That's perfect. And at what moment did you start growing those clients? What was the time period that it was only one client? And then at what moment you had your second one, your third one?
Yeah, for us, it was all about connections. We were lucky to be part of a community, a sports community, and we were able to meet a lot of good people, and some of them business owners. So we had our first few open doors through basically networking, family, friends in Charlotte. The first client that wasn't a referral or a friend or someone close to us probably came after over a year after. So at the beginning, it was all just leveraging the people we knew, and yeah, and they obviously they knew us, so we didn't have to sell ourselves. We just had to convince them that our service was valuable, but they trusted us. So it's obviously like when you're selling to strangers, the the steps to get to the sale are longer. There's way more steps than if you already have a relationship with those people. So that's how we started.
So you told me that you acquired your first client through not through a connection, but basically sort of like a cold outreach not too long ago. But how long have you been working on that process to acquire that one customer? Is it I just hop on one call and then we close the deal, or what does that process look like?
It's a very delayed process. So people nowadays, they're used to getting everything fast and instant gratification, right? When it comes to outreach, sales, closing deals, it's a journey, right? So I'm gonna give you the example of my first client that I landed from outreach, from cold outreach. Um, I send it was through an Instagram DM. I was sending cold DMs to local businesses, and I think I sent this DM probably like 6 months before I landed the client. So my initial touch point was, I don't remember the exact months, but let's say it was January, and I think I closed this client by June, July. So it's crazy to think about it, because when you're actually putting in the time for outreach to kind of like contact new businesses, new prospects, you're thinking like, oh, like they're gonna answer, I'm gonna set up a sales call, I'm gonna close them on the spot, it's probably gonna take a week. But in reality, when you do that first touch point, you're putting yourself out there, but that doesn't mean it's the right timing for them. Like maybe they see some value on your services, on your offer, but maybe it's not the right timing. So what happened? I had a really good conversation. I hop on a call with this person, with this business owner. We had a great conversation. After that, they decided they didn't want to move forward. Maybe like every month or maybe a couple months, I would reach out and see how business is going. I would stay active on social media, liking their stuff, following their journey. And one day they came back because they were like, "Oh, I don't know, things happen. Like someone told him that they need to invest in marketing, or they hired a business coach, and the business coach is telling them, "Hey, hire someone to take care of this, whatever." Like things happen, and then suddenly they feel desperate for that need, and they reached back to me. We hop on a new call like 6 months after, sold them, and everything went great. But the thing is, like, you have to know, like, it's never gonna be fast. Like it could be that you reach out to a business and they're actively looking for someone like you, and things work out fast, and that's perfect. But in reality, in most cases, people don't buy until they're desperate, and they feel like it's something they really, really, really need, and they feel that urgency. They don't buy just because they want to buy services. So it takes time. It takes time to build that.
So back in those days, what did your day look like? At what time will you wake up? At what time will you work on your business? Did you do something else outside of working for your business? Like, what was your? Because at that point, you don't have any structure. You don't have someone telling you what to do and how to grow your business.
Yeah, I was at that time. I remember I joined a community of people, of agency owners, and it was there was three people that were running the community and the coaching group. It was a course. Essentially, it was a course with coaching calls and stuff. And um, at that time, I remember I was paying $200 per month to be part of that, and for me, that was like crazy money. Um, but I was investing on that, and I was surrounding myself virtually with people that had the same vision, same goals, and obviously the three main coaches, there were people that were already successful with their agencies. So at the beginning, honestly, like most of my time was spent learning, and hearing, and then trying to absorb a bunch of information from people that were already being successful in the same space. That was probably what took most of my days at the beginning. I was trying to make that learning curve as fast as possible because I knew I had to learn so many things to be able to offer good value. Uh, but yeah, it was all over the place, honestly.
Yeah. Um, did you wake up at a certain time? Did you?
Yeah,
What was your structure on the day?
I still had my job. I was actually being a paddle coach in Charlotte, in the first Charlotte Paddle Club. And at the time when we started the agency, I was still working. I was still working because we obviously we needed that source of income to survive. And when it came to habits, like waking up in the morning, I think I was never a morning person until maybe this year. So I always struggled in the morning, like my whole life. I would probably say my most productive hours are from 12 to 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So I would always probably have slow mornings, and slowly transition into like start putting time into growing and learning about the business. Um, in the afternoon, I would still work and teach and do stuff. I'm forcing myself to slowly start becoming a morning person because I know mornings are huge when it comes to entrepreneurship.
So one question, Mauri. It sounds like at the very beginning you did a little bit of everything. Compared to now, what you're doing today, what does your day look like today for working for your own business?
Yeah, it varies a lot. There are 2 days of the week where I have a bunch of calls with our team, all of our team members. I have like individual calls, and then we have some group calls as well. So some days I take most of my time like just managing the team and making sure everything is going in the right direction. I'm big on client relationship, so we focus on building extraordinary relationships with our clients, even outside work. So I put a lot of work into that. I would say in the morning, like I do have my routine in the morning, like the first hour of the day. I usually, yeah, I wake up at 7 a.m., 6:50 to be precise. First hour of the day, so from 7 to 8 a.m. It's an hour that I use for myself, like only for myself. Like I don't look at the phone before 8 a.m. That's like a no negotiable for me right now. Um, I hydrate, I move, and then I write or read some, depending on the times and stuff. I usually take the first hour for me, and that kind of like sets the tone for the rest of the day. I think it's like um, getting into the state that you want to attack the day every day. It's really important. Like when you wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is look at your phone and start thinking about everything you have to do and problems, and it's just the worst way to start your day with all this stressful and negative uh, thoughts and stuff. So yeah, I think that's what my morning looks like, and it's helped me so much.
So, what do you mean when you say you hydrate, you move, and you write?
Yeah. So there's a book called The 5 a.m. Club. You probably heard it, maybe. Robin Sharma. And they teach this 20-20-20 method. And essentially, you have to move for 20 minutes. This can be exercise, or you can go out for a run, or even just like do some stretching, something that gets your body going in a way. And then for 20 minutes, you have to meditate essentially. Um, this can be meditation. It's anything for me. It's anything that brings you to the present. So it can be an actual guided meditation. It can be journaling. It can be just uh, visualization. Anything that brings you to the present. And then the last 20 minutes is for learning. So that's when I grab a book and read maybe like 10 to 20 pages every morning. Um, and I always drink electrolytes in the morning, first thing, and that helps me. I don't know if it's in my head but it brings me a lot of energy, like to have that first um, glass of water in the morning, and I never drink coffee. So I think for me, energy is more like being hydrated.
So, what has been the greatest challenge in this entrepreneurship journey with Momentum?
Greatest challenge: comparison and your definition of success.
Why those two?
Comparison, it's so easy to feel bad when you compare to other people, because there's always gonna be someone ahead of you in anything. Um, so I think when I started, I would spend a lot of time in YouTube, and I would compare myself to people that were making way more money and closing way more deals and doing way more stuff than I was doing at a time, and I felt stuck, and that would make me feel down, and that didn't help me at all. So for a long time, I was feeling that way. And a coach once told me, like, if a video finds you, it's probably not good to watch it. But if you go and find a video, like if you go, like let's say you want to learn about a specific topic, you go to YouTube, you look it up, and you learn from it. That's good. But if you go to YouTube and the first thing you see is a video of someone who made 60K in 2 months starting an agency, whatever, and that video finds you and you watch it, then that's not good for you. So comparison, yeah, um, yeah, just kind of like to break it down. I think comparison kills, and for me, the moment I stop comparing myself to others, the moment I stop looking at other people's um, success, is when I started to actually feel good about what I was building. The moment I started focusing on how I could plant seeds for my garden instead of looking at other people's gardens and see how beautiful they were, that's when everything changed for me, uh, mentally. And definition of success, I think, is huge because there's always going to be more and more and more and more. Like, you land one client, and then you want 5 clients, and then you want 10 clients, and then you want 20 clients. So I guess like you have to define the definition of success for you in your business and kind of like stick to it, right? So like if your definition of success is having 10 active clients happy, then anything that comes beyond that, it's great. Like you keep wanting more, and you keep wanting more, and you keep wanting to grow, and that's great. But your success is down here, so you're already past that. So that's really important to have, like, knowing that once you get to a point that you feel successful, that's great. Like, you don't have to keep raising that bar because that's gonna steal your happiness. In my opinion, it's great to be obsessed to wanting more and grow, but don't let that steal your happiness in a way, right? So for us right now, we got to a point that we feel like we've done something great. We feel happy. We feel fulfilled. We want to keep growing and pushing and always do better. But we're happy. We're really happy the way we are and what we have accomplished so far. So yeah, definition of success is key. What's your definition of success?
My definition of success is that you do something that contributes value to the world and you think that it's worth doing. And that means all of us at the end of the day want to contribute to your goal, fulfill our destiny, feel that we are here for a reason. And success should be tied to that reason, or at least to that belief. So if whatever I'm doing accomplish that, so for example, if I am trying to develop a budgeting app or contribute content to the world about personal finances, my parameters of success is making this world a better place by contributing positive, valuable content, something that will help someone else. It ties with your input, with what you do. You only control your actions. So I think success needs to be tied to that, to your actions. The only thing that you can control. Because if we do not, the problem is we depend on the outcome, and the outcome depends on you, but it is influenced by other external things. So I think sometimes when we set goals, when we define our success, we should take that into consideration. Having a goal is great, but at the end of the day, if I put all this effort, I live my life in a certain way, the moment I die, I want to look back and say, this was a success because I was taking actions that were coherent with my values, that were coherent with what my thought of what my destiny was.
Hmm. So you think success is more the journey than the destination?
It's the coherence between what you do and what you believe is a good contribution to the world, whatever that is. That can be helping a client better market their business or helping an entrepreneur have higher level of success because you're adding a marketing component into their ecosystem, or it can be me creating videos and teaching people personal finances.
Mm-hmm.
Mauri, how do you handle the money in your business? Do you pay yourself a salary?
Yeah, that's a good question. For this, I read one book, just one book, and it's been my solution to this topic since we started the business. It's called Profit First. I don't
Okay.
know if you heard about it. It's a great book. Honestly, super simple. It's a little formula that essentially the first thing that you prioritize in your business is the profit, right? So once you define that percentage you want for your profit, then all the other percentages and allocations fall behind. And it's very simple, but it's very important. Why? Because I think most businesses, they they spend well, they generate the revenue and then they spend everything they have to spend to keep running the business. And then at the end, if they have any money left, that's when they save for profit, reinvestments, uh, for personal salary and stuff like that. So I think it's really important to kind of like always prioritize that profit um, allocation first, and then know how much left you have to work with, because it's so easy to always spend more and more and more to grow your business, right? Instead of being super smart about knowing what's your budget month after month that you have to spend on your business, and being super smart about how are you investing that percentage. But your business is always going to be healthy because you know you're always going to have that profit saved month after month.
So let me repeat that to make sure I understand it
Hmm.
correctly. You first determine I want to have this amount of profit out of my business this month. And then with the money left, you determine how much you need to spend on your operational expenses.
Yep.
I like it.
Hmm. So instead of the typical formula is revenue minus expenses equals profit, right? So instead of doing that, it's um, your revenue minus your profit equals your expenses. So now you know how much you have to spend.
And then you just have to figure out ways to stay under that. And if you have to be creative,
Hmm.
you will find a solution.
Yeah.
I like it. So you don't know exactly each month how much you're gonna earn. I'm assuming that amount might fluctuate. You might have some idea of what is your average or what you expect. How do you handle that fluctuation?
Yeah. Obviously, as a startup business, there's a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of volatility when it comes to like how much you're bringing in month after month, and that's why it's very important to always have a percentage that you can save month after month, because not every month is going to be the same. Like you're going to have slower seasons, um, and then you're going to have higher seasons, so you have to make sure that you always have that kind of like it's kind of like an emergency fund for the business, right? So you're building when things are going good, you're still building for when the winter comes, if it comes. Hopefully the winter never comes. But you're prepared for that.
So my next question is: you are a person, like an individual. You and your wife. You have your personal finances, and then the business has the finances of the business. But especially this journey from the beginning to now, I'm assuming not always the business was very strong. At the very beginning, you had only a few clients. So I don't know if that revenue was enough to sustain the building or sustain your expenses, your personal expenses. How did you handle the money in the personal level and the business level?
It changed with time. At the beginning, we were doing everything, so we didn't really have any expenses at all.
Okay.
And a marketing agency is a very low cost business, like to start. Like you don't have, you literally just need a computer to start. You don't need an office. You don't need, well, like expensive equipment, machines, anything like there's at the beginning, everything was just profit. Honestly, like our profit margin was probably like 90 something percent, because it was we were doing everything, right? So when things started to move a little forward for us, we started to delegate some stuff, and then that's when we started to have more expenses. But honestly, I'm proud to say that we never really sacrificed a lot of our personal finances to try to uh, bring this business, or to build this business. So we always did a really good job separating both finances, and that has worked really well so far.
Do you save money on your business? Do you allocate a certain percentage for investment? How does that work? Of all the money that comes in, and then you pay your expenses, you pay your team, do you have a percentage that gets reinvested or that you save for future situations, or to buy equipment, or to buy software?
Yeah, that's a good question. There is in the profits first book, you will see the you need four accounts on your business. Um, Essentially, you have the revenue account, so that's where all the money comes in. You have the taxes account. You have to save a percentage every month for taxes. Then you have the operating expenses account, and then you have the profit account. So obviously, the profit account is it's a small percentage month after month. Um, but yeah, we do prioritize that account, and you might ask like why, what's this profit account for, right? And it has multiple purposes, like but the main one is to reinvest in the business, right? So it's not an account that we just keep adding up and we just never touch, right? The goal for this percentage is to be able to reinvest in the business whenever we want to, yeah, buy new equipment, or give our team a bonus for hitting uh, record revenue, whatever it is. That's what's that's for.
When it comes to like your personal finances, do you save money at like at the personal level? I know you have this business running and the business generates money and you pay yourself a salary. But then out of that, do you have a personal savings account? Do you personally invest that money?
I do pay myself from the business, and that's an expense from the business. And once that money comes in to my to our personal account, because me and my wife, we manage our finances together. And once that money comes in, then we have a strategy that we use for the business. So we have different accounts set for different purposes, and the first thing we do is we save. And we try to at least save 20% of all the money that comes into our personal accounts, and then from there everything just falls into place. But that's our profit, essentially. That 20% that we save, that's our profit. And and that's the money we use to invest, or yeah, basically to invest in long term uh, portfolios. And then from there, we do have a lifestyle account. We have the expenses account, so like the needs. Then we have the wants, which is the lifestyle. And obviously we save some money for our personal taxes too, super important. And and yeah, and then we also save a small percentage for contribution as well. So we like to once a month, and our goal is that every month we have to empty that account, the contribution account, um, because it's super easy to postpone it, or keep adding, 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 and never like actually take action. So our goal is that every month we have to empty that account.
Love it. And with that, so first, I like the fact that you have your business account or your business logic to run your money. And then you have your logic at the personal levels where you receive a salary, you still save. I don't think we hear a lot the fact that even if you have your own business and you're generating money and it's a profit, then at the personal level, you still have to think of, okay, I need to save this money, I need to invest that at the personal level and handle that. I think sometimes we just leave that unattended, and I like to make it to verbalize it so at least it's clear. You do handle the finances at both levels. I do like the fact that you have a budget for expanding, um, especially now. I feel we live in a crazy world where sometimes we do need the reminder where we need to enjoy life at the current moment. And in this case, we are young, so we have to. I think we need to destine a portion of our money to enjoy your life, to do things with friends, to go out, to do what we enjoy.
So like if I could save 60% of my income, I would do it 100%. Like I'm very conservative in that way. I always think about the future in that specific topic. Like when it comes to saving and investing, I'm always constantly thinking about the future. So like I'm always thinking about like what would the Mao 40-year-old Mao tell me if I'm like saving this much money and investing. Like they would be so happy and they would be like thanking me for all these decisions I'm taking right now for long term. But then my wife, Sophie, she's the opposite in a way. So like we complement each other really well because she reminds me sometimes like we also have to live the now, and we also like there's nothing wrong with spending if you have a budget and you can control this. There's nothing wrong with spending money on the now and enjoying things now. I think it's a balance. You need both. We want to have that assurance for the future, but we also want to be able to spend more, travel, and I think that the going back to your question, like I think for us, celebrating wins and like spending on the now, I think experiences is what we like to spend our money on. Like when it's not something that falls on the needs bucket. I think experiences like traveling or going to a concert or anything that can create memories. I think that's something worth spending on the now. Other than buying like a, I always tell Sophie like you buy a really nice car and like for the first week you're so excited the car smells like new, and then after that you just gotta deal with all the aftermath of like now you owe so much money, you're in debt, you're paying interests, you're I don't know, it's just like it takes your peace from you for what for that week or two that you were excited for the new car. And I don't know, we just try to be really smart to how we spend our money, and I think experiences is the best way for us to do it.
I like it. And well, last week we were talking, or 2 weeks ago maybe, and you sort of like were telling me a little bit of how you handle your money, how you budget at the personal level. And I like the fact that you didn't focus too much on counting every single cent, but it was general guidelines of, okay, this is how much I'm going to spend for my living expenses, for going out, for different things. And I like that you allocate money for having fun, but there is a pre-established amount. You plan for it instead of living life, not having a plan, and then being reacted to it. You kind of like prepare for it, and then you can enjoy it and then freely spend that money.
So sometimes I still have to remind myself that we can't just save all the money, and my wife does a good job helping with that. A good balance. I think it's the key. Like knowing that you still have to live the now, and to enjoy certain things, you have to spend some money without obviously going too crazy.
Yeah, and I think that matters to mention like the balance. Um, I've been the last few years I've been reading a lot of personal finance book, and I know you've been reading some financial books as well. And my conclusion after reading many books, it's that we do have to achieve that balance between it's okay to spend, but then it's also okay if you don't spend money. I think we are living in a society that it's being heavily influenced on marketing and us consuming like all the time. And I think sometimes a lot of our financial strength is not on the technical knowledge that we have of like investing on this, investing on the other thing, but it's more on the mindset level of sometimes I don't need to spend that much. Uh, I have a balance. If last week or last month I went on a trip, this week I'll just lay low every weekend. I don't have to like go out to fancy restaurants, and like it's okay. And that life goes through cycles. There'll be moments when we spend more, but then there will be moments where we don't spend as much, and then it's when we build that savings account or that funds account to go back, so then we can like go again in that cycle and spend again.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, if I want to start a business today, what do I need to be thinking about? What should be my approach to how do I go from I want to start a business to I'm taking actions and doing what I want to do?
You want to surround yourself with people that inspire you, and that kind of like helps you create that mindset, right? It's really hard to do it yourself. um, and if you don't have the opportunity to be around people that inspire you, I would say read books, because that's a way to my dad always says, like, if you read a book, it's like sitting and having a conversation with the author. The only difference is that you're not talking, you're just listening, so it's way better, because you learn more when you listen. So I guess, like, reading, surrounding yourself with people that kind of like helps you create that winning mindset, um, delayed gratification mindset, successful mindset, and be able to. I feel like at the end of the day, anytime you're faced in a moment where you have to take a decision, as small or big, you have to ask yourself, like, is this gonna take me closer to my goals or further away from my goals? And I think that's just a mindset to be conscious, to constantly be conscious about your actions, your decisions, all the inputs you're putting, why you're doing it. That's just a mindset that you build, and it's different. It's way different for everyone. Like, everyone has a different mindset, and you kind of like you build your own mindset with your experiences.
So what was your mindset or your thinking at the beginning when you were starting Momentum, and what is your mindset now?
My mindset at the beginning was, I had very high expectations, very high expectations, and I wanted things to move really fast, and that was the mindset I had, and that, in a way, it hurt me a lot, because I was trying to go really fast, and I was comparing myself to other people, and right now I think the mindset I have is, I'm focusing on me, on how can I improve every day a little bit, and how I can slowly focus on different stuff, but just one thing at a time, and see, like, if I do this, the little things day after day, in a year, you will see a lot of change. But I think my mindset at the beginning, I was way too much focused on the outcome, and on the destination, right? and that kind of like slowed me down a lot instead of focusing on the inputs.
I also think that, especially at the beginning, and this is a concept that Alex Ramosi,
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if it's in the book 100 Million Leads, that he mentions it. At the beginning of any project, we have what is called unconscious optimism.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, let's say we are trying to start a business, we don't really know much, so we think it's going to be great and it's going to be easy. But then reality is that when you're actually performing the actions, you start seeing the reality of it. There's a lot more problems, a lot more obstacles that you need to face.
Mm-hmm.
How did you go through that situation with in your experience?
I mean, it's going back to comparison. Um, you have high expectations because you see people online doing it, and sometimes it's not even true. Like a bunch of people on YouTube, they claim to do things and to achieve stuff, and it's not even true, which is crazy. But um, yeah, that kind of like makes you feel like things are easy, and once you are actually trying to grow the business and find new clients and find ways to add value to your clients, you find out that it's not easy. It's not easy. It's it's simple because you can learn ways to do it, and people have done it, and you can follow the same path that successful people have done, but it will never be easy. Like it's definitely, people make it seem and look like it's something very easy attainable, but easily attainable. But it's definitely a journey. It's definitely a journey. You have to go through phases. You have to go through a lot of downs in order to see some light. And yeah, I'm just happy. It brings me back to this mindset of like the only way to fail is to quit. So if you just keep going, it's just gonna be a matter of time to when you start to see some success. That's what I think, because some people just think it will be too easy. They quit too early, and then that's when they fail. It's kind of like the with the stock market. Like you can have a lot of drops, but if you don't sell, you don't lose. So trying to stay there consistent and having faith as well. I think it was a big thing for us.
What kept you going in the moments that you were not so sure the business was going well or that this project was the correct way to go? What kept you going through those hard times? When you were tired, maybe the client was not happy, late at night, that's especially when you have like negative thoughts. What did you tell yourself that kept you going?
I think my wife played a huge role on this. She would believe in myself more than I did at some points, and she always reminded me. I think like we just have to be reminded a lot um, of what we're capable of doing, and like sometimes we know what we have to do. We just have to be reminded, and that was a big thing for us. Just to keep believing and knowing that whatever happens, this is something that is making me grow as a person. And whatever happens, like I never thought that it was gonna be a waste of time. I mean, it was definitely a big challenge for us that was making us grow and as a person, and everything is worth it. I mean, even when you're going through really hard times, if you keep pushing and find ways to find solutions to every problem, and keep just grinding, it gets to a point that you start to feel like it was worth it, kind of thing, which is what we're kind of experiencing right now in our stage of the business. Like we're starting to feel like, oh, like maybe it was worth it. But yeah.
When last week we were talking, we were talking a little bit about mindset and this type of conversation. And you told me um, an story or like an analogy that I want you to repeat on the podcast, about throwing the hat to the other side of the wall. Because I think that's a little bit of the mindset. At least I get to share with you or see a little bit of your journey, a little bit more up close than other people. And I think a big mindset that I see in you is that commitment that we are going to find a solution, and you committed to starting this project, to start the momentum. And I think that it's a massive key on the success of your business, on your personal success as an individual. So if you can please share that story.
Yeah, so I love the analogy because when I was in a situation where I was still having my job and I wanted to go all in on this entrepreneur journey, and obviously thinking about it, it was like right now is the perfect moment to go for it and to risk it, because like any we don't have any kids. Like I don't know, I think like later on in life it would be way harder to go for it. So yeah, for me this analogy is basically like there was a kid running, and he was like climbing walls and just like going over walls and getting to the other side, um like kind of like fences. And he was doing this, and then it got to a point that he was facing a really really tall wall, and he was like, okay, like this is it, like there's no way I can get over this wall. He had a hat on, and he this hat, it had a lot of emotional value, and he decided to throw the hat to the other side of the wall. And it took time, like it took a lot of time and effort and doubt, and but at the end he found a way to get to the other side and get and recover the hat that he cared about a lot. So essentially, for me, in my situation, like when I was having my job, throwing that the hat was kind of like quitting my job. And obviously my wife was, she was working at the time, so I mean it wasn't like we were gonna be really struggling until the business kind of like produce something. But in a way, for me personally, it was a big risk, and I decided to take it, to go all in. Obviously, like it's a massive advantage to have all the hours of your days focused on your business, on your project, than having to work for someone else and then having to set some time aside for the business, right? So yeah, that was a that's always a good one.
I love that story. And I think sometimes it is like that. We need to take that step of faith, and then once you do it, you figure out ways to solve whatever was that problem. I think a lot of time we see the problems a lot bigger than what they actually are. I know partially you probably have this mindset not because you were born with it or it just came out of nowhere, but I'm sure you're reading books, you are consuming content that helps you grow. So I'm curious, what is your favorite book?
Yeah, I think for personal development, and this one is very basic and popular, but I think Atomic Habits is my favorite for personal development.
Why?
I think habits is everything. Like, if you can master your daily habits, you'll master your life, because your habits are the little inputs we were talking about. If you can focus on that, those are gonna compound, and with time, and you're gonna become a great person, a being, and just like the person you're gonna become to create these habits and stick to them for long periods of times. I think there's a huge gap of between people that stick to daily healthy habits for a long period of time than that people that don't.
What is that one habit that you think is gonna pay very well in the long term that you're currently doing?
Saving and investing, saving and investing. And then if we want to talk about like our daily routine, going to bed early.
Yeah, yeah. What is that?
Why is that? Because I think when you're sleeping, you're investing in your day. If you sleep 8 hours a day, that means it's one third of your day. So that means for every minute that you sleep, you get 2 minutes back of energy and productivity. So I think sometimes people get confused because they're like, "Oh, I'm not gonna sleep because I'm working really hard and I'm gonna stay up really late working, and because there's no time to sleep and I wanna move fast, whatever." In reality, you have to prioritize your sleep. The lowest points of my life have been when I don't have a consistent and healthy sleeping schedule.
I agree on that. For me, it's every day I can tell my bedtime is around 9:30 or 10. That last hours of the day, the last hour, it is when I take the worst decision and when my thinking is the most negative. So it's kind of like the same, like the more tired you are, the less rested, those are the moments where are like you are at your worst for sure. But I do admit that I need to do a better job at sleeping, in complete honesty. Mauri, what about the business or personal finance book?
Yeah, I would say I love Secrets of a Millionaire Mind.
What do you like about that book?
It's all about mindset, like a millionaire mindset. There is, I think it was like it is like 17
Well filed.
wealth, yeah, the files. Yeah, the wealth files, and how with every single file, like uh, they compare how the poor see it and how the rich see it. So I don't know. It's just a very great book and very easy read, and really I think it's like 300 pages or less, and very practical as well. So I think I wrote down all the files, and I probably look at them once every couple weeks to remind me of this of how the millionaires think. Um, I think it's a great book for business.
Do you have any top file or mindset from that book?
Yeah, there are a couple of files that stood out to me a lot. One of them was that poor people think that you can have both happiness and money, while in reality, like successful people, they can have both. Okay, so like some poor people say that, or think or are wired to this thinking of like money can steal your happiness, and it is true. It's true, like for some people, but that scares a lot of people and keeps them in that poor mindset.
I like that. And what I also like to clarify is that I don't think it matters like the economic level that you are, but it's more of on the mindset if you are like mentally have a poor mindset or a mindset or scarcity against a mindset of abundance, of a mindset that is positive. Um, because I think you are the one that prevents yourself from achieving certain things. So it's what he means when he means poor people have this mindset, rich people have this mindset. What he means is people that succeed in life or people that accomplish their goals. It's people that don't have these scarcity thoughts. They don't prevent themselves from achieving certain actions. They talk positive today. They encourage themselves. Um, so I like a lot because it helps you change. We always start with a neutral mindset, or our mindset really doesn't start neutral. It starts influenced by social media. Social media content is not positive. So basically, we start with a negative mindset. The problem is nowadays we need to start building our mindset, work on it intentionally if you want to get to a positive mindset. And I think that book, The Secret of a Millionaire Mind, at least does that. It makes you aware that there are things at the mindset level, at the thinking level, that you need to start working on. Not necessarily because you want to be wealthy or financially strong, but if you want to start progressing in life, you need to take care of your mind and your thoughts. So I love that. Mauri, what is your goal with momentum? Like, what is, for example, my 5 years goal with momentum? Where do you see momentum in the future? What do you want it to be?
I don't really believe in 5 year plans. I think that's way too ahead. um, I like to think more about like 6 months, maybe a year from now. I think we wanna continue to serve our clients and provide solutions and influence them in a great way and their businesses. We want to keep growing. In the next 6 months, I do want to start working on my personal brand, and I started working already, but I want to start to put myself out there in the next 6 months to kind of like build my brand and connect that with what we're doing with momentum in a way. And in 1 year, I want to say, obviously, we want to be a very successful, known agency in Charlotte. Kind of like we want to be the people that whenever someone thinks about marketing or they need help with their online presence, or they they're stuck with content, with planning, strategy, whatever they need, they can think about us, and we would be glad to help them. Um, Big thing for me is obviously we want to grow our team, and we have people working our team from Mexico, and I'm from Mexico, so for me the agency is a way to contribute back to my roots and to have people from Mexico in the team doing great work. It's just something that makes me passionate about what we do, and and yeah, I don't want to go a lot into details like specific amount of clients or revenue, but obviously in a year from now, we probably want to be thinking about doubling our size and be able to building from there.
That's a fantastic goal. Can you please give me like a 1 minute, a quick tip of a marketing tip that any local business owner that is watching or hearing this podcast, they can go and implement and that will help their marketing?
You have to be yourself nowadays. You have to be yourself out there. Whenever you put yourself in front of other people, there's way too much competition, and people are kind of getting tired of the same thing over and over again. So I think in order to market anything, you have to be very genuine, and people have to feel that you're actually being very authentic and raw. And like I just feel like there's way too much competition right now, and it's really hard to compete with other people that are very positioned. You just have to be yourself when you put yourself out there, and when you want to like show the world what you have to offer.
Next, I want your thoughts or a reflection. If you were to like start everything again, if you were the Maori, 20-year-old Maori, like the young Maori, what advice, what reflection will you share with them?
Yeah, I would highly encourage them to go out and meet new people, get out of their comfort zone, and put yourself in front of people that inspire you and and that you want to learn from. It's very easy to stay behind the screen in your comfort zone, but I feel like the true growth for the business and personally comes whenever you decide to take that step and start building a circle of good people that support your ideas, your goals. I would tell him to expose yourself as much as you can to the world, to the to the real world, to how things work, to how you can learn, how you can implement, and be very curious about other people's stories as well, because you learn so much from other people's experiences. And instead of being stuck on YouTube trying to learn, there's so many people around you that can add so much value to you. So that would probably be my advice.
I love it. Go out and like networking. Mauri, what advice would you give to someone that is starting with their marketing agency, that is starting doing marketing freelancing?
I would say, yeah, I would say start as freelancer, start testing your product, your service. Once you're certain that it's something that adds value to people, then it's when you can formalize it, like we mentioned before. But honestly, I would focus on one service. I would focus locally, and I would actually go and show my face to people. Like, instead of doing all these cold outreach methods, I would actually go and literally knock on doors and put myself out there. I think that's the best and fastest way that you can get to know your ideal client. What are their needs? What are their pain points? What do they value? That, yeah, that's just the best way to do it. Actually going there and knocking on doors and have a great offer. Have a great offer. Um, Something that people feel stupid to say no. So for me, like if I would start over today, I would probably like knock on doors, literally knock on doors, and probably offer like something for free to try our service, but more than that, to kind of like build that trust with you. Because people, I mean, your service can be good, but people buy from you because they trust you. So yeah, I would probably do that.
That's great advice. And I think now that we are moving towards a more virtual world, it's great to hear that sometimes we do need to go and knock on physical doors, go and shake physical hands, go and talk to the actual business instead of sending the DM on Instagram or a text on over the phone. Mauri, before we finalize this episode, is there any last message that you would like to share?
Yeah, I just want to say we're just two normal uh, dudes trying to figure it out just like everyone else, and that we. I mean, I just highly encourage people to don't give up. Like if they have something they wanna achieve, like there are ways to learn and figure out. Focus on solutions, right? That there will always be a lot of problems and setbacks. Try to focus on solutions. Read a lot. Focus on you. Surround yourself with good people and keep learning, because this world moves really fast, and what worked yesterday is not gonna work tomorrow. So at least in marketing, like we just constantly have to keep growing and innovating. So the last thing I want to say is that focus on your health a lot. Focus on your health and your healthy habits. Have a good balanced diet, exercise. If I always think about this analogy. You have this table, very fragile glass table, right? And you have everything on top of the table that you care about. So your family, your job, your relationship, working out, uh, drinking with friends, everything you like is on top of this table, right? And your health is the table, right? So if the table breaks, everything else comes down. So I think I always think about my health, because if you lose your health, or if you don't feel right, everything else goes down and really affects every other area of your life. So I would probably focus on your health, your energy, find ways to be more healthy every day.
Where can people find momentum or follow you?
Yeah, so you can find momentum on Instagram. The handle is obtain momentum on Instagram, and you can follow me as well on Instagram, Mau Hernandez, but instead of the Z, it's a seven at the end. And yeah, I would love to connect with everyone, and yeah, help in any way.
Mauri, thank you very much for being here today. And thank you, everyone who listened to this episode.